Hey everyone, Richard Robbins here. Well, the numbers are in for Vancouver for the month of April. Now keep in mind that April was the first month that was really affected by COVID throughout the whole month. If we go back to March, the first 2 weeks were not really affected by COVID, and it was more of the social isolation started around mid, and then of course it started to slow down towards the end. So keep that in mind as we have a look at these numbers. What do we have? We got your sales, we got your active listings on the market at the end of the month, we got your months of inventory. How do I get that? I take this number, your active listings, divide the sales into that, and that tells you how many months you can go if you didn't list another house. Okay, in terms of inventory, and we got your benchmark price. Sales, 1,571 in January. We went to 2,150. We started out very well. Sales were starting to go up. Went to 2,524 in March. Now imagine if the last 2 weeks of March were busy, what this would have been right here. And then we dropped to 1,109, which is down by 56% from what it was you did in March. What happened with months of inventory? Because remember, this is what determines your price. You're at 5.5, which is a very balanced market, right? We went down to 4.3, so we're starting to move, down, and then we went here into seller's territory at 3.8, and then of course we jumped up to 8.5, which makes sense because look at your listings are over 9,000, over 9,000, over 9,000, and what number has changed? This one has changed, so you got more months of inventory. What about April of last year? Now, first of all, remember, April of last year was not a really busy month in Vancouver. But 2019, you did 1,829 sales. 2020, we did 1,109. That's down by 39.4%. Now, that is down less than almost all the other markets we track in terms of your sales. Benchmark price, you're over $1 million, just over $1 million, and again, we're just over $1 million right now. Let's look here. Let's look at your months of inventory. And this is really interesting because we got your months of inventory for 17, 18, 19 in the first 4 months. So you can see the lines, but here was last year. So last year we started with roughly 10 months of inventory, okay, and it started to come down. And if we look right here, you can see we're sitting at about 7.8 last year at the same time. Right now we're at 8.5. So it's not that far off, but this was a very weak market. But what was really cool is we got to about here August and we started to move into a very strong market. And then we came out in January, good. February, good. March was actually okay. And then, of course, COVID-19 kicked in. Now, I created one other slide, and you can download all these slides. You can study them. You can show them to buyers and sellers. But here what I did was I gave you the number of sales for the month, same month for 2011 right through to 2020. I gave you the months of inventory, and I gave you the amount of active listings. So it's a pretty cool little graph that you might want to print out and you start using this in your listing presentations or working with buyers. So think about this. We're now in May. What's going to happen in May? What's going to happen in June? Obviously, nobody knows for sure. Unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball. However, Canada is starting to open up a little bit. Now, we're not going to go back to the new or the old normal. We're going to have what we call a new normal. It's going to be a little bit different, there's no question. However, I am sure there's going to be a lot more sales that are going to happen in May than it happened in April. And I would suggest there's going to be more in June as well. So we're starting to open up. Opportunities are now still there and are going to get greater, I believe, over the next little while. What's important right now, if you're a real estate sales professional, it's time to get back at it. Now, some people have been at it. Other people maybe not as much, might have kids home, maybe worried about COVID-19 infection. I understand all that. But if you want to capitalize this year, I think now is the time we get back to work. Now's the time you got to be making phone calls, following up with leads, checking in with all those appointments you did in the past, finding who wants to buy, finding who wants to sell, and start scheduling appointments. I truly believe if you want to capitalize in 2020, it is time to get started. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. And remember, everybody, it's a beautiful life. Make it count.